Hold on. Let's see if the chat room is working. So I signed on to today's high noon show. Now the camera isn't right. Camera's got to get my head more right. I think so. I signed on, I signed on and I said, hey, welcome to the High Noon Report. And then I glanced over at the computer and it said that we weren't on, that we had been knocked off. So hope you enjoyed the first 3-second show because this is now a different one. Here we go. Let me get that right. I don't know what's going on here. All right, chat people, come on, let's go. Who's first in the chat today? Is the chat room working? It says, oops, something went wrong. People in the chat room, tell me if the chat room is in fact working because now I've got a red flag from Restream that says, oops, something went wrong. Okay, Leslie's here, Barney's here. Chat room, another Leslie. We got multiple Leslies. We are number one with Leslie's. All right, we're just gonna, and it seems to be working. You can all see each other. Okay. Had a little, just, little tiny minor. Hi, Byron. We had a tiny minor incident there at the start of the show. And we're going to fix it. What's that? Oh, McDonald's is letting me know something. Let me tell you something. I found a new poor person food hack. I'll tell you about it in a second. It concerns McDonald's. But, man, can I just... What do they want? Oh, they're promoting a new McFlurry. Yeah, I have the McDonald's app. The McDonald's app is fantastic. It really is. If you like McDonald's and look, I don't eat McDonald's. Okay, that's fine. We can be friends about other things, but just don't ever badmouth McDonald's in front of me because I love McDonald's. Greatest company America's ever produced. It's fed a hungry nation for the better part of 60, I don't know how many years. I'm not a historian. All I know is that I like everything McDonald's got. I like the Big Mac. You go, best burger in town. I'm like, why does nobody ever mention the Big Mac? Why? Because it's everywhere. Because we take it for granted. Because we don't give a shit about a McDonald's because there's a McDonald's within walking distance of every single one of our homes. No, you got to drive out to Fort Worth to get the Big Mac is a friggin' fantastic sandwich. Burger, look, I've had better burgers, but the Big Mac is a consistent, delicious treat. Now, here's what I've discovered, though. This is the kick I'm on recently. Man, just a McDonald's cheeseburger. You ever just had a simple little McDonald's cheeseburger? They're like $1.39. You get like 4 of them and just eat them like a sack of White Castles or Crystals, I guess, for Southern people. But man, that's my kick. My kick lately, look at me, like the bastion of health. No, but lately, like, I'm running late or something and I need something like, God, I'm not gonna have time to eat or something like that. 4 McDonald's cheeseburgers. That's it. I know it's a lot of bread. That's cheese. What do you think? That's probably 2,000 calories right there. Easy, but it's delicious. And here's what I do. Here's the trick. This is why I do 4. I just combine 2 of them. And I make 2 big double cheeseburgers. Oh, it's so good. And I just throw away the rest of the bread. Or who we kidding? The dog gets the bread. But that's what I do recently. Okay, welcome to the High Noon. Welcome to the High Noon Report on Pugs Moran. We do this show every Monday through Friday. What is this show? It is a daily rundown of all the hot topics, current events, trends, headlines, whatever it is that people are talking about. We give it to you one issue after another through my throat clearings. And we move on to the next one. We don't spend too much time on any single topic. The goal that I have for all of us, and myself included, this is for me. I'm just sharing it. I would do this by myself. In my head, I would do this show, even if you guys weren't here. But I do appreciate you being here because it makes it less weird. This show is designed so that you know a little bit of something about just about everything that people are talking about out there, right? Other than you're not going to get any partisan talking points, right? I'm not going to tell you, here's what if you love Trump, here's what you need. If you hate Biden, here's what you need. If you love Biden, I'm not doing that. We don't do that. I don't see him blue and red. I see him green. Money. That's right. And to that end, you can tip this show. This show runs on your gratuities if you want to help out the show, if you want this kind of talk radio to thrive. And by this kind of talk radio, I mean the kind of talk radio I've been doing since 1992, but doesn't seem to have a home anymore, which is just conversations about the world, having nothing to do with how you voted. If you want to support that, you can drop a little something in the tip jar. Sure would be appreciative. Venmo, Cash App, made easy for you right there. Tip the show. I'll leave that up for a little bit. Before we go into the non-divisive topics of the day, and oh man, do we have some. Here's what I'm going to start doing here at the start of the show. I'm going to start giving you a little preview of some of the things we're going to be talking about today. because today is a wang dang, write this down, a wang dang dilly of a day. That's right. There are a lot of things going on. Okay, so at the top, there's a couple of bullshits, political things. I'm just going to mention just so you know that they're being talked about, but we're not going to give you any sort of one side or another. We got shark attacks in New York City. My hiccups are here. They just snuck up on me out of nowhere. A dude died who we need to talk about. He is a dude. From time to time, I like to stop and, I go, look, there's a lot of men in this world, but there are only a few dudes. And when you get a dude, you need to talk about this dude. And when a dude dies, the world needs to know a dude has died. That's coming up on today's show. Hey, we got a new COVID variant dropping. That's right. Breaking news on the new COVID variant. Update on the Mega Millions, right? That's the thing. We're going to talk about the Mega Millions went down there. What else do we have? The Alabama boat brawl. Oh my God, you guys, there's more news on that. I pledged last night during the Radio Misfits show, which is a 1 hour broadcast that we do at night at 9 p.m. Myself, James Parker, and E, we get together and we chop it up. We did a whole show last night on the Alabama boat brawl. So if you're interested in seeing our coverage of it, you can go to pugscast.com, Pugscast, and just pull up the Radio Misfits show from last night. See, there's two shows. When you go to pugscast.com and click on videos, there's two shows you can choose from. The noon show, which is going to say High Noon with Pugs Moran, or the Radio Misfits. And last night's episode of Radio Misfits, we went deep. The three of us, we went deep. We analyzed that video. We had some hot moments. We had some laughs. So if you want to see that, it's on pugscast.com. And there are updates. I pledged last night that I would cover this with the ferocity and passion that I did the Idaho college killings. And I was all in on that. So we're going to keep you updated on this. And there are updates on the story today. There are aliens hanging out with a civilization on this planet. I'm going to tell you all about that. And a whole bunch of other stuff. There's a whole bunch of other things that are trending. Some of the obvious things that you'll get my hot takes on, and then we'll move on. But those are some of the, things that are making news today. And there you go. I beat the hiccups. Thank you. The hiccups were coming. Now, as you regular listeners know, we don't just jump straight into the topics of the day. No, because here's what this show really is. It's an attempt by me to spend 2 hours with no bathroom breaks, no commercial breaks, no long pauses, no breaths. Occasionally, I have to do something with the dog. But this is an attempt at least a 2 hour stream of consciousness on all the day's hot topics and trends. So if you just hang with me, we're going to get to it all, but we are going to go down some dark alleys. We are going to have to make some U-turns and cul-de-sacs from time to time, because again, that's what this show is about. And before we go into the day's topics, the currents, the trends, the headlines, we'd like to talk about this day in history. We go through the events that have shaped this day, then we talk about the people who were born on this day, and then we go through some people who have died, and we talk about whether we care or not. That's really the long and the short of it. So let's get started. It is the High Noon Report for this day, the 8th day of August, year of our Lord, 2023. It is the 221st day of the year. Do you know how many days are left? 144. There you go. I was quicker because I have it written down. Hold on. Let me pull up the chat. Whitney's here. Taronda's here. Barney's here. Everybody's filling in now. Come on. We'd love to see it. Get yourself comfortable. Let's do a little erstwhile on this day. Let's talk about some of the events that have shaped this day. Again, we are looking for patterns. We're looking for rhythms. We're looking for things that might inform us as to what we can expect in the hours to come. On this day in 1892, that busy bee, Thomas Edison, he got himself another patent. Remember yesterday, he received a patent on this day. I don't know if it was 1892. Maybe. I don't want to go back and look. But whatever. This seems to be a day, or this seems to be the week patents come out. Yesterday, it was the mimeograph. And I was like, what the hell is a mimeograph? I don't even know what that is. Today, Edison, in 1892, received a patent for a two-way telegraph. When we think of Thomas Edison, don't we think of an engineer in a lab, like tinkering away and actually making the electrical connections that create these new gadgets that change humanity forever, right? We think of him laboring away, right? But was he? But because, Steve Jobs, I think history is going to sort of paint that way. And that one now, Elon Musk, Elon Musk has a team of really smart engineers who he pays a whole lot of money to do the day in and day in stuff. So I wonder, like did Edison just have like a team of people? Right, Tesla. We know about Tesla. We know about this. So we know Tesla was. So whatever. Anyway, on this day, 1892, Thomas Edison, he got his patent for the two-way telegraph. I don't know if he really invented it or if somebody working for him did, but whatever, he gets credit. On this day in 1936, during the Summer Olympics, Jesse Owens wins his 4th gold medal. Big deal here historically because remember, 1936, this was Germany. They had they had their Kennedy. They had their Camelot. His name was Adolf Hitler. And this was in 1936, and it was the big introduction to the world of what Adolf Hitler was all about. And he was going to put on an Olympic Games that showed the world that the German athlete, the Aryan, was superior in all ways. And then Jesse Owens shows up with that beautiful red, white, and blue flag on his chest and freaking meatballs them all. Just Jesse Owens. Yeah, that's right. An American Hitler. So what's up with Germany? That's an American and a black guy Hitler. Just, I don't want to rub salt in your wounds, but yeah, an American black guy just destroyed on this day in 1936. On this day in 1945, during World War II, Nagasaki is devastated when an atomic bomb, the Fat Man, is dropped by the United States. 35,000 people are killed outright instantly, including 23,000. Yeah, whatever. That's that's a tough one. That's, I think, in college, I pondered this a lot. This is where this first really came to me. The whole idea of the United States military using nuclear weapons. I mean, hey, we're in the time of Oppenheimer, so these questions are being asked again. People seeing Oppenheimer are walking out of it going, I am become death, eh? I always end up, whenever I consider Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and I don't care about your justifications. Let's, this is one step at a time. Justifications for why we did it should come naturally after should we do it. I mean, so should we do it? So that's where the moral question for me always comes down, right? I don't know. It's a difficult one. It's a big moment in human history, and certainly one of the most defining moments in American history, as it certainly changed the way we were perceived on the stage. Difficult one, a serious one though, one that needs to be. I don't think any serious person thinks that's a chest thumping moment. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I mean, the overall idea and the mythology that was created around it, the way America pulled together and did this new thing and was able to restore peace globally, that's the mythology. And there's truth to that. And that's great. But again, I always go back to the moral question. We're going to vaporize how many people? And these are like, some of these are like going to be kids in school and stuff like that's a moral question. That's a moral question that I struggle with. All right. I was on this day in 1945. On this day in 1969, you guys. So we got Jesse Owens showing up Hitler. We got Fat Man being dropped on Nagasaki. And then we got this one, 1969, Tate LaBianca murders. That's right. This was the day that the Manson family went and murdered Tate LaBianca. Followers of Charles Manson murder pregnant actress Sharon Tate, wife of director Roman Polanski. Coffee heiress Abigail Folger. I bet that was some money back in 1969. Polish actor Wojtek Frykowski. He was dating Abigail Folger. He was an actor, but he wasn't famous. So he was probably just like a hot idiot, just some like hot idiot young actor. And men's hairstylist Jay Sebring, who and a recent high school graduate, Stephen Parent. Boy, you never hear about Stephen Parent. So this was this was that thing. This was the thing. This was the Tate LaBianca murders. This wasn't the wait. The LaBianca murders. Yeah, the LaBianca. Wait, I thought the LaBianca murders were the supermarket family. Anyway, these were two. Did they both happen on the same night? I don't know. I only focus on the Sharon Tate, Jay Sebring, Abigail Folger murder. Anyway, I'm confused. I'm confused by it. I'm confused by it because one of my favorite movies of all time is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's crazy Quentin Tarantino movie that supposes what would happen if this fictional Hollywood man's man character actor lived next door to Sharon Tate on the night that and it's a wonderful movie. And I can tell you this, I for years, we've always heard the name of Sharon Tate and people are like, oh, she was pregnant, she was beautiful and all that. And I never really, I'm a kid. She was dead before I was born or just after I was born. So I wasn't really familiar with her movies, but I've seen her and I'm like, va va boom, obviously she was a bombshell, Sharon Tate. She was really hot. But I love Sharon Tate and I do. I absolutely love her based entirely on Margot Robbie's just whimsical performance as her in that Quentin Tarantino film. Margot Robbie is so good. I don't know what Sharon Tate was really like, but I'll take the Margot Robbie version. I'll take that absolutely delightful example of feminine humanity. I'll take that version. That was great. So yeah, that all happened tonight. Now what happened in the movie? If you saw the movie changes history. It's, one of these altered history type projects. Anyway, it's great. It's great. Love that movie. Hate what happened. I mean, I hate the reality, but the movie, very nice. Very nice. I like it. On this date in 1974, holy shit, man. So we got Hitler, right? Let's go back on the events that have shaped this day. We got Hitler being shown up by a black American at the Olympics. We bombed Nagasaki. We dropped a nuclear weapon on this day. Charles Manson's people kill Sharon Tate. And then on 1974, Richard Nixon resigns. President of the United States resigns from office after Watergate on this day. On this day. Good Lord, these are big events. Surely there can't be anything else big that occurred on this day in history. On this day in 2012, Shannon Easton becomes the first woman to officiate an NFL game. Shannon Easton. But now, look, we never acknowledge progress as it's happening. But you can look back. You can look back and go, here's an example of it. On this day in 2012, Shannon Easton becomes the first woman to officiate in an NFL game, obviously a preseason game. But I think it was before that. It was before that when I was at a Mavericks game and we had really good seats. Like we were like not courtside, but like 2 rows off courtside, where you really feel like you're in a high school gymnasium watching these super athletes, because you're close up. I was probably with Emil. Anyway, I remember this game. This game was probably 2007, 2008. This Mavericks game had a female referee, and I remember being struck by it. And I remember all of us there being struck by it, to the point that there were people making jokes and, yeah, that stuff goes. So that was probably like 2007. So now here we are, and that was NBA. But on this day, NFL, first chick ref. Anyway, this is what I mean by progress. I don't think today, I think twice when I see a female referee, whether they're refereeing football, whether they're refereeing NBA basketball. Yet I am blessed to exist in a time where I had one foot in the world before that was a thing, and now one foot in the world where it's not a thing, where women are just referees. There's lots of female NFL referees, or at least there appears to be. The point is this: when we turn on the TV and see a girl with a ponytail running up and down the field, we don't go, hey, check it out, that's a chick. It's not strange anymore. It's fairly common. That's progress. And nobody recognizes. See, progress doesn't hurt. The thought of progress hurts. The thought of doing things differently is what bothers people. What? Now I'm going to have to do what? That's the problem. But when progress just unfolds naturally, like it did with females being allowed to be referees, think about that statement. Females being allowed to be referees. There was never a rule that said they couldn't. It just wasn't done. And now it's not even thought about. Now it's done. I mean, certainly not to a 50-50 level, but you know what I'm saying? It's not crazy for a little girl who wants to dream of one day being an NBA referee to be an NBA referee. That's progress. And it hurt nobody. It hurt nobody. It was on this day in 2012. Shannon Easton became the first woman to officiate an NFL game. I'm sure there was a lot of shit said. Now, We talked about all the big events happening on this day and about how this day seems to be pretty significant as far as churning out chop toppers. Again, we'll run them down. Hitler shown up at the Olympics by a black American. Historically, on the world stage, that was massive. We dropped a bomb on Nagasaki. We dropped a nuke. There's only 2 days in the history of mankind where this has happened. Today is one of them. Charles Manson's people kill Sharon Tate. The Tate LaBianca murders occur. The Manson family murders occur on this day. President Nixon resigns from office. So again, I say surely nothing else significant should have happened on this day in 2014. Michael Brown, an 18-year-old African-American male in Ferguson, Missouri, is shot and killed by a Ferguson police officer after reportedly assaulting the officer and attempting to steal his weapon. This sparked protests and unrest in the city that would go on for months. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good night. We're done. August the 9th is a steaming piece of garbage of a day. Bad stuff goes down on this day, and that's why we do the erstwhile segment. See? We look for, again, I'm waving. We look for rhythms. We look for patterns. Batten down the hatches, bitches, because I think today's going to get bumpy. If history is any judge, and by the way, you may have noticed, I started fairly early in the history here. Throughout time, like massive, like Julius Caesar, this is the day that Julius Caesar chased Pompey back, his arch rival, in one of the bloodiest Caesarean fights ever. And I just made up that way of using Caesarean, but it sounded good. And again, reminder, stream of consciousness, I'm going to make up words if I want. Crazy day. Crazy day. All right, let's move on now. It is time to get into what we like to do, the birthdays. Buana, buana, buana. These people have birthdays. Buana, buana, buana. I bet you do too. Let's see here. Happy birthday. Born on this day in 1942. Here's a dude. Oh, man, I don't like to use that more than a couple of times. We got 2 shows where we're going to talk about a couple of dudes. Born on this day in 1942, David Steinberg. Did you guys know David Steinberg? He's still alive. You should know who he is. I'll tell you what, if you don't know who he is, I've read a couple of books about him. But if you're not into books, and I'm not into books either, I much prefer documentaries, but I read these stupid books back when I was, in the 90s, before the documentary is made. There is a documentary called Quality Balls, okay? Quality Balls. And it is the story of David Steinberg. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show it to you. We're going to watch this trailer because you know what? I feel like I need to watch it. There we go. Okay. I think I might need to watch this movie again here on Quality Balls trailer. Here we go. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you don't like documentaries. I like documentaries. So basically, if there's somebody who I recognize as an interesting person, I like seek out those documentaries. Now I think this doesn't sound like Hulu or HBO Max or something. So I would just search Quality Balls. Quality Balls. Where we go? Let's watch this. This man's having a birthday today and he's still alive. And if you love comedy, he's a dude.
I think of one of the original brilliant visionaries of modern humor. He had a vision, he had a statement, he had a point of view, he had a voice that was completely unique for the time.
When he did stand up, he had this impish look, like any minute he was going to go off script and tell you what he was really thinking.
Do you have anything to do with your average Gentile girl?
Well, it's hard to bring a Gentile girl home to a Jewish family. What you do is you bring home a black girl first.
He was irreverent and unlike anybody I've ever seen at that time.
Donald Nixon.
The president's brother?
Yeah. Can you imagine what it must have been like for Donald to have gone through his whole life thinking that he's the screw-up in the family?
And every time he's on television, the network hierarchy gets a little quaver here and there about what he might say, but that's what makes him interesting.
We don't care about the critics. We regard critics anyway as eunuchs at a gangbang. They watch it all, they point it out, they can't really do it themselves.
He sort of set the template for the way a lot of comedians wanted to work, myself included.
He's a master craftsman of comedy.
He represents, the last 40 years of comedy in the United States.
A Jewish princess, to me, is the kind of girl that makes love with her eyes closed because she can't bear to see another person's pleasure.
Quality Balls. That is the David Steinberg documentary that's available out there if you're interested in him. He is the term quality balls comes from Mel Brooks. Hold on. David Steinberg was banned from TV because he had a lot of like takes on religion and all these. He was controversial and he was banned from TV. He was considered a very provocative thought leader in the counterculture of the late 60s and 1970s. And he presented, as this nice smiley boy in a shirt and tie. So that sort of put you off from what he was actually saying. He was banned from TV. And every powerful comic in America was like, this kid's a genius. Why won't you give him what he deserves? And it was Mel Brooks who picked up the phone and basically read the riot act to anyone that would listen. And Mel Brooks was known to say, you got to put the kid on the air because he's got quality balls. Like his balls, what he's putting himself out on in other words, quality balls means what he's putting his career out on the line for is worthwhile. As opposed to like maybe an Andrew Dice Clay, who put his entire career on the line for hickory dickory dot, right? David Steinberg was putting his entire career on the line because maybe in 1969 he had a joke that had a punchline about a Catholic priest doing something to an altar boy, right? I mean, so anyway, David Steinberg celebrating a birthday today, born on this day in 1942. He's a real dude. Born on this day in 1943, Ken Norton. Here's what I know about Ken Norton. He fought Muhammad Ali. I don't know if he won. I don't know if he lost. I just remember I was a little kid, and the reason I know who Ken Norton is because he fought Muhammad Ali. Born on this day in 1943. Muhammad Ali opponent. I don't know. Ken Norton. Born on this day in 1944. Now, this is why I wrung my hands a little bit when I had to call David Steinberg a dude, because now we've got an unquestioned dude. Ladies and gentlemen, happy birthday, born on this day in 1944 to the greatness. That's right, Sam Elliott, the mustache. Oh, I love Sam Elliott. I've loved Sam Elliott. Here's what I love about Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott has never been an A-list actor. Sam Elliott's flirts with B-list. Sam Elliott has never opened a major blockbuster film. He always plays the cool side guy. He always, you know what I mean? That's so because of this, Sam Elliott has been forced in his career to never shy away from TV. He's done a lot of great TV. He's done a lot of great movies. So we're going to do a Sam Elliott draft. And interestingly enough, this is going to be a greatest characters Sam Elliott has portrayed. And it's interesting because for my money, and one of the reasons that I love Sam Elliott is because he plays the same character in almost everything. It's just in different clothes. And those clothes sort of dictate whatever the context is. But that character, and this is my point on Sam Elliott, why he's a dude. That character is so all-American, salt of the earth, so connected to just about everybody that it's beloved. And he's been able to make it work, whether he is playing a White House chief of staff or a cowboy in 1883 Fort Worth. I mean, he plays the exact same character, the same guy. What is this guy? This guy is morally principled. This guy is willing to bend the rules, but again, always morally principled. Sam Elliott. Let's do a Sam Elliott character draft. What do you say? Done in the style of an NFL draft. We are treating his characters from films and television as if they are highly touted recruits coming out of college, prospects. Number one, the first pick off the board in the Sam Elliott character draft. We're going with Wade Garrett from Roadhouse. Isn't that the first one, really? Isn't that the first one where we went, this dude's cool? I love the mustache, right? Roadhouse. Number 2 off the board in the Sam Elliott birthday draft of characters he's portrayed. How about the Stranger from Big Lebowski? That's right. The Stranger, the mysterious stranger in the Big Lebowski. And now we're going to jump over to TV because, like I said, man, this dude, he was never one of these, I'm Brad Pitt, I don't do a TV series. No, he was sort of, the next tier of actor who's got a really nice house and a really nice living. He doesn't have to work anymore, but, and he ain't DiCaprio is my point. So he does TV, and he did a season of TV, season 6 of Justified, where he played Avery Markham. Avery Markham was the head. Basically, he was like the godfather, the boss of the Dixie Mafia, and he lived in a hotel. Oh, he was awesome. Avery Markham from Justified. Also played opposite Mary Steenburgen in that season of Justified. They were a couple. They were in mad love, old people sex. And let me tell you something. Watching Sam Elliott and Mary Steenburgen, which would absolutely constitute, I'm going to make up words, constitute old people sex. Not terrible. Not terrible watching those two. They're both still attractive humans. Yes, they're both like 70. Mary Steenburgen is beautiful. And I don't know, maybe this was 15 years ago, so maybe they were only like 65. But whatever, my point is this. He was great as Avery Markham in Justified. There you go. That's pick 3 off the Sam Elliott character draft. Number 4, Kermit Newman, White House Chief of Staff in one of my favorite sleeper films of all time, The Contender. The Contender. You may not have seen this. This is a great movie. I think this is an Aaron Sorkin movie or a Laurie movie. It's either Sorkin or Laurie. I'm not sure. Anyway, The Contender, Joan Allen. She plays a senator in the United States. She's about to get elevated to the vice presidency, and they do a background check on her, and they find all of this stuff and blah, blah, blah. Sam Elliott plays the White House Chief of Staff. So now he's still, howdy, partner. He's still that guy. But now he's in Washington in a suit and in a tie with a Rolex. And, so same character. But now, again, we're talking about a completely different guy. Same character as Wade Garrett from Roadhouse. It's just this time Wade Garrett is now the Chief of Staff of The Contender. Is a great movie if you've never seen it. Number 5. This is a favorite of mine. A lot of people might not think it's that great of a movie. I love this movie because I love all things Nicolas Cage. How about Carter Slade from Ghost Rider? Come on. I had to put some bad movies because one of the hallmarks of Sam Elliott's career is he's done a lot of bad movies, but he's been awesome. You know what he's like? He's like the white guy. He's like the white guy Danny Trejo, isn't he? And like people love Danny. Everybody loves Danny Trejo. Isn't that kind of the same thing? That's what we need. We need a Danny Trejo fights Sam Elliott movie. Well, why they gotta fight? You're right. Why they gotta fight? How about Sam Elliott and Danny Trejo? Here we go. Stream of consciousness. We do this from time to time. We create TV shows and movies on the fly. Okay, here it is. Sam Elliott, Danny Trejo, cops? No. Ex-cons who are really trying to do right. But I don't know. We'll work on it. Back to Carter Slade from Ghost Rider. You guys remember Ghost Rider, Nicolas Cage? I think it's one of the Marvel ones, right? Because aren't they all Marvel characters? Anyway, there you have it. That concludes our Sam Elliott character draft. Roadhouse, Wade Garrett goes number 1. Big Lebowski's The Stranger goes number 2. Justified season 6, Avery Markham goes number 3. Kermit Newman from The Contender goes number 4. And Carter Slade from Ghost Rider goes number 5. But do not fear, there's a lot of Sam Elliott that's going to get invited to camp. How about Draft Day, where he played Coach Moore? Small role, but he played Wisconsin head coach Moore. What was his first name? I forgot. Doesn't matter. Don't get distracted. Small role, cool role. Again, Sam Elliott or Wade Garrett from Roadhouse as the head coach of the University of Wisconsin. We're inviting Draft Day. We're inviting 1883. I love 1883. What a cool show. And he plays, who does he play in that? Shea Brennan. That's it. Shea. He plays, Shea Brennan. So Shea Brennan from 1883. Virgil Earp from Tombstone is coming to camp. How about Gettysburg? Union General, Brigadier General John Buford, second in command under Jeff Daniels. Gettysburg, man. I got to watch that again. Gettysburg is great. There you go. That's the Sam Elliott draft on this. Sam Elliott's birthday. Born on this day in 1944. The mustache. He's the dude. Born on this day in 1957, Melanie Griffith. Happy birthday, Melanie Griffith. Born on this day in 1958, Amanda Burse. Amanda Burse, American actress, comedian, and director. You guys know who Amanda Burse is? Let me tell you something. I know who Amanda Burse is. Let me put this properly, okay? So let me interrupt the free-flowing stream of consciousness for some cherry-picked words for what I'm about to say about actress Amanda Burse, who's celebrating her birthday today, born in 1958. She's the most important lesbian in my life. That's right, Amanda Burse. Amanda Burse, the most important lesbian in my life. And here's why. You can say, why? Why would that be? I don't even know who Amanda Burse is. Yeah, you do. She's Marcy from Married with Children. Remember Marcy? Marcy and Steve lived next door to Peg and Al Bundy. And Marcy was always uptight. She was like, I'm the yuppie. Here's why she's the most important lesbian in history to me. Because, like, early on, like, you know, watching Married with Children, when I was like, I don't know, a teenager or whatever I was, and I'm watching Married with Children, and I see Marcy, the next door neighbor. You know, I'm a 19-year-old guy, 18-year-old guy, whatever I was. You know, every chick I see, I'm like, is she hot? Do I want you? I'm a stupid kid. I'm not this perfectly evolved human I used for you now. And I looked at Marcy on Married with Children. I was like, yeah, I would. I totally would. But here's the thing. There was something about her. There was like something about, I'm like, man, she's cute. She's cute. But what? I don't understand why don't I think she's hot? You know what I mean? Like she was never making it into the spank bank. You know, the way Kelly would, or the way Peg might from time to time. You know, they could make their way into the spank bank. But for some reason, Amanda Burse wasn't. Turns out she comes out of the closet. She was one of the first. She was like one of the first actors or actresses. You know, Ellen gets the credit. But Amanda Burse came out first. And I was like, well, that explains it. She's got no interest in men. She's not trying to, you know, make boys at home guys. She's just an attractive human being. And that's why I call her the most important lesbian in my, because she's the first lesbian that I went, okay, all right. And here's the other thing. I liked her. You know what I mean? Isn't that important? Don't kid yourself about how important that is as far as, you know, we talked about progress earlier. Talked about how, you know, women referees. There was once a time when guys showed up at a game and there was a girl referee out there and they're like, it's a chick referee. And, you know, here we are all these years later. And now every time we go to a game, there's a chick referee. It's not a big deal. It's like, well, that's progress. Same thing with, you know, the acceptance of gays, because I can tell you flat out that if you had said to me in 1985, you know, when I was a kid, you know, that guy's gay, I would have immediately thought bad. I would have thought going to hell, because, you know, Catholic school and all that. Bad, going to hell, stay away from them. They're probably going to molest me. But then, like, Amanda Burse comes out of the closet during the run of Married with Children, and I'm like, well, she's gay. She seems harmless. Maybe I should start questioning. Maybe I should start going, you know. Then my friend's family, they were wonderful. My friend had a older sister who had a gay friend, and the gay friend was probably like 19, 20 years old. They were older than us. They were like, we were like 13, 14, but and the gay friend in 1982 or 83 or whatever it was kicked out of his house. And so my friend's family took him in. He's gay. We all knew he was gay. All the kids in the neighborhood, we knew his name was Greg. We would go over there, go to the pool, because they had a pool and stuff. We'd go swimming at the pool. Hey, it's gay Greg. He's like, hi, boys. You know, and he was like that. But we liked Greg. You know what I mean? Greg was cool. So at 14 years old, after the initial programming wore off, which is Greg is going to hell, Greg has AIDS, Greg has cooties. You know, after that, as 14-year-old kids, we're just a bunch of people trying to make spectacular football catches in a pool, right? We're all just kind of playing. So that was a big moment. But Amanda Burse, when it turned out she was a lesbian, I was like, well, another one. So that's why Amanda Burse is the most important lesbian in my life. She opened my eyes. Her bravery caused a stupid suburban white kid like myself to go, okay, all right. And also explained why I didn't really feel it for her. Gaydar. Gaydar is a thing. I will tell you that, oh, Pugs, you can't say that in 2023. I don't know, really? You can't? I think you still can. I think it's a very real thing. I think that if people want their sexuality, if they want to be branded by their sexuality, that they do these little things outwardly to give cues to greater society. And I think if those things are picked up on by people like me, it's not necessarily because I'm homophobic. It's because they're kind of, advertising, and I'm not a fucking idiot. I can read people. Oh, but I guess it's a bad thing. Anyway, happy birthday to you, Amanda Burse. You're the most important lesbian in my life. Sorry, Melissa Etheridge. Melissa Etheridge was different because she came about like before her, but there was never any, like, I never looked at Melissa Etheridge and went, man, she's hot. That wasn't a thing. Melissa Etheridge was just cool, which also is very important because, man, I love that first Melissa Etheridge album. We're like freshman year of college. That was a good album, man. And then Indigo Girls. I guess I was very overwhelmed with all of a sudden, an acknowledgement that, lesbians are around. And see, there you go. That's progress. Now look at me in 2023. It's like, I don't care. Now I wish I was gay. Now, it's like, there might be some advantages to it. Like, for instance, if I came out of the closet, I'm like, I'm not. Here's the unfortunate reality is that, my parts only seem to work for women. And even then, I'm 54. I'm not even sure how effective it is. I know for a fact. You know what I mean? Like I know what I'm into and what I'm not. But like if I came out of the closet, I don't know. Some might be worthy. I might get a little attention for that. Nah, probably not. Probably not. You know why? Because it's 2023. Nobody cares. Progress. Thank you. Thank you. Stream of consciousness. Look at that. Stream of consciousness almost led me into some silliness. All right, let's talk about more birthdays. Amanda Burse, born on this day, 1958, the most important lesbian in my life. She was the first one that I ever went, oh my God, okay, cool. 1963, born on this day, Whitney Houston. And you know what, Whitney? You see the Whitney movie? There's like a Whitney movie. I watched like 25 minutes of the Whitney movie, and I was like, you know what? I'm fine. I'm fine with what I think I know about Whitney Houston. I don't need this. You know who Whitney Houston is to me? Whitney Houston is to me this girl with the yellow bow in her hair and like some preppy sweater vest. In like, popped collar, and she's singing, oh, I want to dance with somebody. That's Whitney Houston to me. I don't give a shit about, smoking a crack pipe in a bathtub. I don't need that. I don't need that. Happy birthday, Whitney Houston. You were pretty awesome for a period of time. Born on this day in 1967, another person who was pretty awesome for a period of time, and then not so awesome in a whole bunch of other ways. I got beef with Deion Sanders, but happy birthday, Deion Sanders. Born on this day in 1967. Born on this day in 1968, Gillian Anderson from The X-Files. Guys, all right, you know me. You guys know me. I'm like Mr. Alien dude. Should I watch The X-Files? I've never watched it. Never watched it. Here's why I never watched it. Because when The X-Files came out, I was a serious alien dude. It was the early days of the internet. I was looking at serious stuff about alien autopsies and, stuff like that. I was dying at the, and then this TV show comes out. This TV show, it's about the X-Files. It's about, and you know what I thought? I thought, they're not going to treat it seriously. They're going to be stupid. And then the show takes off, right? And I'm like playing catch up. I'm like, man, should I watch this show? Is this show good? And I don't know. It just got away from me. I've never seen The X-Files. Should I watch The X-Files? Because I'm looking for something to binge. I'm looking for something to binge that I haven't seen. I mean, is it, good? I love David Duchovny, that's the thing. I'll probably set out to watch, binge watch The X-Files. I'll end up binge watching Californication again. Because that's my favorite David Duchovny thing of all time. That is so great. Joel says no. Don't watch The X-Files. All right, since Joe is the first to chime in, it looks like, as the rules apply, I have to listen to Joel. Who else is having a birthday today? Gillian Anderson. Chris Cuomo, born on this day in 1970. Hey, turns out the other day I was talking about how there's this new news style. Like, look, I don't watch Fox. I don't watch MSNBC. I got CNN on by default, So, I watch a lot at night before I go to bed. I fall asleep to the British Good Morning London, their version of Good Morning America. I fall asleep to that. I watch that. I like that stuff. Because I can't take the Fox News and the MSNBCs and the CNNs. I just can't. So I've been looking around. I've been like, what's new? There's all these new fly-by-night news networks popping up. We started talking about this News Nation a couple weeks ago and about how what has stuck out for me in my search for a new source for information. What has stuck out to me about News Nation is their story selection. They got great story selection. They got stuff I'm interested in. They're not doing politics. It's like the top story of every hour on the hour isn't former President Trump. No. Like their top story is the Alabama boat brawl. And I'm like, yeah, mayhem in our streets. That's more important to me than what the hell is happening with a bunch of billionaires who don't like each other. So anyway, Chris Cuomo's over on that News Nation. He's got a show over there. That one snuck up on me because here I am thinking, I like News Nation. And then now I got, really News Nation is in bed with Cuomo. So I started watching a little bit. It's not bad. It's not bad, man. Chris Cuomo's a complicated dude with me. I used to call him the handsome dumb guy. And then I started to go like, wait a second, he's not that dumb. He's actually really articulate. And it's just that he uses his charm in a way that isn't typically used by broadcasters. And I sort of process that as dumb. And it's not. It's just charm. It's like big, dumb, happy guy charm. Anyway, he's got a show on News Nation. He's having a birthday today. I haven't seen a whole lot of the News Nation show. I've seen some clips of some interviews that he's done. Take that piece of information for what it is. But I do enjoy the story selection that News Nation seems to be going with. Born on this day in 1970, Chris Cuomo. Also born on this day in 1970, Thomas Lennon. Thomas Lennon from Reno 911. Thomas Lennon from everything funny you've seen in the last 10 years. Thomas Lennon is a writer. He writes on everything. He's probably the highest paid writer in Hollywood. The dude works on everything. And he was the star of Reno 911. Remember, he wore the tighty whitey or the tighty shorts, and he was obviously a gay man, but he was, not out of the closet. That's Thomas Lennon. Happy birthday to him. He's awesome. Born on this day in 1970. Born on this day in 1983, Dan Levy. Dan Levy, son of Eugene Levy. It was Eugene Levy. It was always Eugene Levy. And then all of a sudden he has a kid, and the kid becomes famous, and the kid's name is Levy. Okay, so Dan Levy. Schitt's Creek, right? That's his thing. Kid's a baller in Hollywood of 2023. I don't know what he's doing, what he's getting into. All I know is everybody wants to be in the Dan Levy business. I'm back here. I'm still in the Eugene Levy business. I'm not ready to give up on that yet. Happy birthday, Dan Levy. Born on this day in 1983. Born on this day in 1985. How about the biggest bust in NFL history? Nah, maybe. I mean, you got at some point, hype is hype, and hype fades and hype gets distorted over the years. So let's forget about the hype. Let's just look at draft position. Let's look at draft position in need of team and how spectacular the bust was. Happy birthday to Jamarcus Russell. That's right. Oakland Raiders out of LSU. God, he dismantled my Irish in the bowl game just prior to him being drafted by the Oakland Raiders. He looked like, I thought Jamarcus Russell was going to reinvent the game of football. I thought he was just going to take, and he didn't. He sucked. I mean, he really sucked. He wasn't serious. He was, he took a signing bonus. He got a signing bonus, and he's like, hey, man, I'm 21 years old, and I have $2 million in cash. I ain't going to go lift weights. It was that. Anyway, big bust, super potential. Never really realized it. All right, those are the birthdays. Those are the people who have been celebrating birthdays. How about people who have died? Should we do that one? These are the people who've died. Okay, let's do that. These are the people who have died. These are the people who have died. Do we care? Assholes are everywhere. We know this. We understand this. We accept it. We do our best to navigate around them. Everybody dies. We knows this. So vis-a-vis, assholes die every day. This is where we look at people who have passed away throughout history, and we make a determination as to whether or not we care that they ever lived. That's right. These are the people who've died. These are the people who've died. Do we care? Dead on this day in 1948, Hugo Boss. Hugo Boss. Now, Hugo Boss, no, we don't care. Why? Because I don't give a shit. He was a friend of Hitler, and he made Hitler's uniforms. And those Nazis, look, you say what you will about the Nazis, and there is plenty to say about Nazis, but at some point, someone's going to have to go, those uniforms were kind of badass, though. I mean, when you eliminate the symbol that, brings on such hatred and resentment and horrors for so many of the uniforms just on their own, you slap a couple of American flags over those Nazi things, and those uniforms are awesome, is all I'm saying. Hugo Boss died on this day in 1948. Now we don't care. We don't care. He made Nazis look good, and that can't be something we reward here in this portion of the show. Dead on this day in 1969. Yeah, preemptively, we care. We care. Again, Sharon Tate died on this day. We talked about it. The Manson murders occurred on this day. Sharon Tate died. Don't know anything about Sharon Tate, but I do care that she's dead, because if not, we'd have never seen Margot Robbie portray her in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which, just a delight. Just a performance filled with joy and whimsy. Just such a... I don't know what Sharon Tate was like, but I really like that character that Margot Robbie created. Dead on this day in 1969, Sharon Tate. Dead on this day in 1995, Jerry Garcia. Remember this one. This was a big one. Do we care? Yeah, we care, I guess. I mean, I'm not a deadhead or anything, but yeah, he seemed cool. He seemed like a cool old guy. There's no like... although, you know what? Wouldn't this be fun? Oh, my God. How about this podcast? All right, here we go. Podcast idea. Man, the creative energy out of me today is just fantastic. Although I never finished the Danny Trejo, Sam Elliott buddy picture. I got to go back to that. Somebody make a note. Somebody in the chat room. We got to work on that Sam Elliott, Danny Trejo buddy pic. Like, what about this idea for a podcast? Because, like, Jerry Garcia is pretty much revered, right? Everybody's, no, man, Jerry's cool, man. Like, I bet if you went back, you can find something to cancel him over. What if we did a podcast where we investigated people who have thus far remained clean and dead? They got to be dead, because that's part of the fun, that we're just, like, raking up I don't want to do that. That sounds like a very negative sort of thing. I don't want to put that out there, but it'd be fun. And if any of you awful little demon spawn want to do that podcast, have at it. It's an idea. Just throwing it out there. I don't want to be attached to that energy, but we're throwing it out there. Jerry Garcia, dead on this day in 1995. Dead on this day in 2003. Who? Yeah, Gregory Hines. Gregory Hines. A lot of Mel Brooks movies he was in. He was one of the stars of History of the World, right? Gregory Hines, great tap dancer. Who was the other guy that was tapped in? Didn't Gregory Hines? Now, this isn't how he died. Gregory Hines, I guess the last 10 years of his life must have been absolute hell. He got hit by a car. Remember, he got run over by a car in the Hollywood Hills? And he was legs were all tore up, but he survived. And then he died. And then he died years later. But man, I don't know if it was from complications. Anyway, do we care? Yeah, we care. Not enough for me to pull up the Wikipedia page and find the exact reason for death, but we're moving on. Because the next guy I want to talk a little bit about. The next guy is awesome. The next guy truly was a wonderful person. And that's on this day, back in 2008, the world lost Bernie Mac. We care. We care. I care. I've told this story before. Bernie Mac was one of the comedians that I knew in Chicago years before Bernie Mac was famous. But Bernie Mac was a grinder. Bernie Mac was friends mid 90s, early 90s with my friend, my co-producer, a guy by the name of Doc. And so Doc used to take me. Bernie used to run a comedy show out of the Cotton Club on South Michigan Avenue. And it was like a South Side comedy show. And we were always looking for talent, especially from, non-white suburban areas of Chicago. And my host, Kevin, really loved Bernie Mac and loved all the people that we pulled out of there. We had a guy named, another friend of the show named Jerome would go with us. So it would be like me and Doc and Jerome. and sometimes whoever else. But we would go to these all black comedy shows put on the South Side of Chicago, hosted and emceed by Bernie Mac, who was just this incredible comedy entrepreneur in Chicago South Side for years and years and years. So when Bernie Mac finally got his break, when he popped with the Kings of Comedy, right? Wasn't that the big comedy tour that was put together by, was it Steve Harvey and somebody else? I don't know, but it's a testament to Bernie Mac that he was probably the lesser of those guys who went out. And now I think that he's probably bigger, unless one of them was prior, but I don't think it was. Anyway, he got that and he popped, and everyone in Chicago was so happy for him because this is a grinder, man. This was a guy, he was not young. Like, he had been doing it for decades, right? He had been grinding and everybody loved him, and he did all the publicity, and he'd be on the morning shows and all that kind of stuff. And then from that led to his Fox show. And then he bought a big old house in Frankfurt on the South Side, and then he died. And it's very sad. He died young. He died of, what was a heart attack, right? He had a bad heart. But let me tell you, now I know for a fact that every exchange I had with Bernie Mac back in the 90s, I know that every exchange was based on a power dynamic. And that power dynamic was that I was a booker for a very big morning show. So he had to be nice to me. Now, understanding that, because that's sort of, you have to weigh your evaluations of people on those kinds of things. So I could, back in those days, I could give something to him. I could book him. I could book his talent that he brings up on stage. We could figure out stuff to do with that on the morning show. But above and beyond that, he was just, I'm a good reader of people. Like, I watch the way people treat people, and the comedy world is just filled with terrible, terrible people. And he did not seem to be that at all. He was tough. Like, that was one of the things about him. I think his defense mechanism was, instead of being an asshole, to people, like, hey man, you said I was going to go on next. And, Bernie's in charge of the list. Instead of being an asshole to people, he affected that character of, that were big and blustery, and I'm going to yell. There's no threat of violence really, but it's just, he's being funny because he's getting so angry. He was a great guy. He was a nice man. And I was already in Dallas when the Bernie Mac show took off on Fox TV, and when he became something more. I was already in Dallas doing the show with Kelly. But I remember watching that going, son of a bitch. He fucking did it. This dude did it. And then, he became Bernie Mac. And who didn't love Bernie Mac? Bernie Mac, dead on this day in 2008. Do we care? You're damn right we do. Damn right. Dead on this day in 2015, Frank Gifford. Oh, no, wait, that's Keith Jackson. What was Frank Gifford's thing? Frank Gifford was, I don't know what Frank Gifford's thing was. Anyway, Monday Night Football, Frank Gifford married Kathy Lee Gifford. He was a football player. He was handsome. People liked him. He's dead. Do we care? Sure. All right, that's going to do it. Those are the people who died. Those are the people who died. Those are all the things, the events, the people who were born, and, the big things that occurred on this day. We're done. Those are the prerequisites. Now you know what it is. Now it's time to get into what is officially known as the High Noon Report. Yeah, you know what? We have talked about our good friends at Sacred Oils. Sacred Oils, 13740 Midway Road, Farmers Branch. Tell them Pugs 20, get 20% off anything you get. You want the CBDs, you want the Deltas, all those things. Gummies, the good stuff. They got it. Sacred Oils, 13740 Midway Road in Farmers Branch. Tell them you heard it here. Tell them Pugs 20, you get 20% off. Sacred Oils. Those are our buddies over there. Thank you to them for all that they do throughout the day. And thank you to you. You guys made it through. We made it through the month. I'll tell you, we weren't going to make it. And I don't do this. We weren't going to make it. But one of you, Tracy, we'll just say, one of you stepped up to the plate and hit a walk-off home run and got us over the line. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tracy. Thank you so much, all the rest of you. When we update the list for the month, I'll be sure. And I don't give people's last names or anything like that, or amounts. It's not a bidding war. It's not a contest. People, any kind of thing you want to tip the show, that's great. We appreciate it. So thank you. All right. So now let's get into all of the events that are shaping this day. Let's see here. All right. So in the beginning, like I say, we don't like to do divisive stuff. But we got to talk about a couple of things really quick. So we're going to run through them. The big story, New York Times has published a memo, a White House memo, a secret memo that heretofore had not been known about other than from Jack Smith and his investigation into the election tampering case against former President Trump. The New York Times this morning has published a memo, and in the memo, look, here's the thing. The memo basically says it lays out a plan to take the election back. So whatever, if you're following that, that means something. You can read the memo or you can read commentary on what this means for either side somewhere else. But there you go. That's the story. The New York Times printed a memo. That's it. Ohio is trending today because Ohio had an election yesterday, a little tricky election. So in November in Ohio, there is a abortion amendment thing, right? So in November, they're going to vote in Ohio to make abortion illegal in November. That's in November. So because the people who want to make abortion illegal don't think they'll win that popular vote, they held an election yesterday they made it harder. Here's what they did. They made it harder to change. No, I'm going to read you the story because I'm getting confused. Anyway, it was a rejection of a measure that would make it harder for people to get abortions in Ohio. Oh, God, it's so confusing. Ohio voters reject ballot measure in win for abortion rights advocates. Okay, so the ballot measure failed. The ballot measure was there should be no abortions. That was the ballot measure. Not really. The ballot measure was about the state constitution and how easy it is to change the state constitution, and whether or not you want to change something to the state constitution. You should take a simple majority of 50, or do you need 60? They tried to make it 60 so that it would be harder to then change it, but that measure failed. So now it's still just a simple majority to change the. Why are we talking about the Constitution of Ohio? Because it has to do with reproductive rights, and that's a big story, and that is why it is trending. Moving on. Big story out of Haiti today. That American nurse and her little daughter, who have been held captive since July the 27th, have been released. This is she's from like New Hampshire. It's like this. Like she's living in Haiti because she's married to some director of some medical facility there. So, this isn't one of those, well, she's the one who chose to live in Haiti. No, man, come on. She's over there doing God's work. Literally, she's over there. Her husband runs a hospital that treats sick people in Haiti. I mean, so she's over there, she's giving back. So let's have a little compassion for her. Anyway, we got her back. The American nurse and daughter, they came back. They're fine. An American nurse and her child were released by kidnappers after being abducted in Haiti nearly 2 weeks ago. The nonprofit where she works made the announcement on Wednesday. Alex Dorzaville, a 31-year-old from New Hampshire who lives in Haiti, and her child were safely released. El Roy Haiti said in a statement. That must be a newspaper. The organization did not provide any other further details about what happened. But I know what happened. She was working with her husband at the clinic on a day when the kidnappers showed up, and they took her and her child right out of the clinic. And that was, I don't know what they wanted, whatever, but all's well that ends well. Probably a terrible thing to have to go through. And anyway, she is back. How about this one? Rockaway Beach in New York is trending. You want to know why Rockaway Beach in New York is trending? Rockaway Beach in New York is trending because yesterday a shark attacked a sunbather in Queens. The first time, the first time since 1953 that a shark has bitten somebody in New York City. A 65-year-old woman, Tatiana Kultyuk, was bitten in the leg, losing 20 pounds of flesh. This is the first shark attack in New York City since 1953. Elsewhere in New York City, she survived. Elsewhere in New York City, Jones Beach on Long Island is back open today after drones cleared the area after multiple shark reports were reported yesterday. What's going on with sharks, man? Like, why are the sharks? What's happening? Why are the sharks now going to New York City beaches? I don't know. Maybe Al Gore's got an explanation for it. I don't know. No, they're looking for cooler water. And because I don't know what any of this means. All I know is that it's the first time in like 70-something years that a shark has bitten anyone in a beach in New York City. And then it happened yesterday. And the pictures are disturbing. All right, Maui is on fire. Maui is trending as well. I don't concern myself with the problems of the people in Maui because I will never go there. That is just where the people go to. I don't get the people. I got a friend. I got my buddy Ed who runs Radio Misfits. He's like Mr. Maui. He's like, I gotta go to Hawaii once a year. Whatever. Good for him. Hey, look, it's your thing. You got your thing. A lot of us are looking for our thing. I know that Maui ain't my thing. My Hawaii. What is that? Was it like a 10-hour plane ride to a beach? Ugh. God, does that sound like the worst? I heard once that pop machines in Hawaii cost $20. That's right. Someone told me that there was a pop machine in a lobby at a hotel, and all he wanted was a little can of Pepsi, and it cost $20. I don't want any part of that place. And, look, first of all, I'm beach averse. I don't like beaches. Look at my skin tone. Look, I'm ruddy Irish, man. I burn. I don't want to be out there. I'm the guy in the floppy hat wearing the shirt in the water. Yeah, I don't want to be that guy. That guy is not cool. So beaches, I try to stay away from beaches. But if I did need a beach, man, I'd just go to Malibu. Come on. I don't need to leave the continental United States to find some amazing beaches. I ain't going to Florida. That's for damn sure. But I'll go to like the Bahamas. Like we got the Bahamas. We got now I got to sing that song that I tried to sing last night. Aruba, Jamaica. We got Jamaica. Ooh, I want to take you to Key Largo. Key Largo, that's in Florida. You don't have to leave. Montego. Not a clue where Montego is. Baby, why don't we go? That's it. I don't know the song anymore. Kokomo. Where's Kokomo? Where's Kokomo? Is that in Florida? I don't know. Anyway, that's where they want to go. Kokomo. Maui's on fire. There's fires there. There's wildfires. They're spreading into the town of Lahaina. The town of Lahaina. People are running into the water. Oh, God, jeez. What's happening? Maui. Wow. Anyway, that's what's happening in Maui. You're going to see like Hawaii's on fire. It is. But only Maui, it seems. I don't know. I'm not really following it that closely because, again, don't really care for Hawaii. Sixto Rodriguez. You know this guy? You guys know the name Sixto Rodriguez? S-I-X-T-O. Sixto Rodriguez. Do you remember the documentary from a number of years ago called Searching for Sugar Man? I should say. It's not like a Jewish dentist that you're looking for. Sugar Man. Searching for Sugar Man. This was, man, an amazing story about Sixto Rodriguez. Sixto Rodriguez was a Detroit singer-songwriter in the 1960s and 1970s. And he made a couple of albums with some local Motown records and some of that stuff. And he even had a little bit of success. He had some success in Australia. We're talking about the late 60s, early 70s. He had some success in New Zealand. He had songs that charted in South Africa. He had songs that charted in weird places. And nobody in Detroit was cranking out his jams, but he did have a slightly successful career in other parts of the world. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have the connectivity that we enjoy these days. So he kind of lost track of how his albums were doing over there in that part of the world. So because, everyone grows up at some point, he had to give up. He just kind of quit. He just was like, okay, I guess I'm not going to be a musician. And he became a construction worker. And he worked for 40 years as a construction worker in a piece of shit house in Detroit in like a shitty neighborhood. Every Friday night, he would walk down to the local pub and he'd play his guitar and sing some songs for about a handful of people. This was his life for 40, 50 years. Had a daughter, had a kid. He raised them up. They went to college and just, he worked construction and then he played his music. Sixto Rodriguez. This is basically the story of the documentary film Searching for Sugar Man. Here's the thing. Remember when I told you that he had some hits over in Australia and in South Africa and like that part of the world? And then, because of the way the world was at the time, and he just kind of lost track with those people. Well, not only did he have some hits over there, but the legend of who he is, because he just vanished, because he had like 3 or 4 hits in a row down there in a very short period of time, and then just vanished, and nobody could find him because he was doing construction in Detroit for 40 years. Nobody could find him. They just declared him dead and was like, yeah, he's dead. And then they bought the masters from some company that was selling them of all the music that he recorded in Detroit. And then they started putting these records out in Australia and in South America and New Zealand and in other parts of the world. And he became a recording artist. He sold more records in Australia and South Africa than Elvis Presley. He became a recording star, and they thought he was dead. They just thought he was dead. Meanwhile, he's waking up at 6 a.m. every day, going to work in some construction firm in Detroit. So one of his songs during the apartheid movement was brought back to radio play in South Africa. And it was a defiant 1971 anti-Vietnam War song about stand up for your rights and, all this kind of stuff. So round about the time of apartheid, the rise of Nelson Mandela and all that, that song became a hit again in South Africa. Now, not only became a hit, but it became the anthem of the resistance to apartheid. It became a song that every kid had to learn and would sing. It became like their national anthem. And this dude, again, is waking up at 6 a.m, trucking his ass in a Detroit winter down to the construction site so that he could bang nails for minimum wage. Then on Friday nights, if he's feeling up to it because he's getting older, he trucks his ass down to the local tavern where he sits on a stool and plays his guitar for 5 people who could care less. Meanwhile, sold more records than Elvis Presley in Australia and South Africa. And one of his songs is essentially now the South African national anthem. And everybody thought he was dead. And then that's the whole point of Searching for Sugarman, when it is discovered that he is not dead and that he's an old man. And anyway, that's the great story. Anyway, Sixto Rodriguez, man, that is a story. We all have a story. Not all of us have a story like that. Cisco Rodriguez died yesterday. So if you remember Searching for Sugarman, that dude who, I'm telling you, man, I don't know, handled it well. He wasn't pissed, right? Like, he was cool about it. He was like, man, I guess I really missed out. It's like, what? Yeah, you really did. You should be living in a palace on, like, I don't know, Johannesburg Bay, overlooking the vat. That's where you should be. But no, instead you live in a shitty apartment with space heaters and window unit air conditioners in Detroit for the past 50 years because a bunch of people went, yeah, we tried to get a hold of him and we couldn't. So let's just say he's dead and steal all of his music. Millions and millions of dollars were made by other people while he was working in, Detroit. Sixto Rodriguez died last night. He was 83. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me get his age properly here. Should click on the story. Come on, how old was he? Jesus. 81. Sixto Rodriguez, the once obscure American singer-songwriter who found a career renaissance after his music developed a cult following abroad, has died at the age of 81. Cool guy. All right, there you go. And a good excuse. If you've never seen the film Searching for Sugarman, it's not a film, it's a documentary. It's the story of this guy and how this all played out. And it is you get so mad for him. But then he doesn't care. He's like totally cool. I mean, he cares. You know who cares? His kids care. His kids are like, yeah, we got the lawyers. Yeah. We're going to start repossessing some Australian millionaires' houses. He died. There you go. So Sixto Rodriguez, man, you were kind of a cool guy. I don't know how you handled it, but you did it well. Dianne Feinstein is trending. She's the old lady senator from California. She fell at her house. She's okay. She went to the hospital. She's back. we got I am not an ageist. As I get closer and closer to aging out of, the prime demographics, I do realize, why am I out of frame? I do realize that I was wrong my whole life and that older people are actually far smarter than everybody else. It's just that they've been through so much nonsense in their life that, they're mostly bitter and they don't frame their intellectual thoughts that we could all learn from. They don't frame them properly. They always come out, just a little dusting of racism or something. Anyway, if old people could get that under control, we'd listen to what they'd say because they really actually do have good advice. I learned that as I get older. So I'm not an ageist. And Dianne Feinstein, I'm not an ageist, but she shouldn't be in the United States Senate. Come on. God love her. I'm glad she's okay. Dianne Feinstein, Senator Dianne Feinstein's office released this statement. Senator Feinstein briefly went to the hospital yesterday afternoon as a precaution after a minor fall in her home. All of her scans were clear and she returned home. Okay, good for her. Good for her. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a new variant that's dropping. Yay! You thought we were done with the COVID variants, weren't you? No, we got a new one. Ladies and gentlemen, please meet EG5. The EG5 variant, which is now causing concern around the world, it is responsible for 17% of new cases. 17%. I don't know if that's probably a lot, right? Considering most of the cases are the ones that already exist, the Omicrons, Anyway, there you have it. So be on the lookout. Coming to a restaurant near you. The COVID EG5 variant. Mega Millions. Okay, so last night, remember there was a big Mega Millions? Yeah, there was a winner, the winner in Florida, one ticket, one guy, won it all, blah, 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 outside Jacksonville. I don't even want to talk about it because I'm so angry. I really thought, guys, that we had a shot at this. Mega Millions. Somebody in Florida won it. There you go. Tory Lanez. You guys know who Tory Lanez is? This is just another one. Again, I'm an old guy. Tory Lanez is apparently a fairly successful and well-known hip-hop dude. He shot Megan Thee Stallion. This is the weirdest story. I don't know this. All right. Tory Lanez is a hip-hop dude. He's a performer, maybe producer. I don't know what he is. He's something. Those people in that world know him, and he's got some swag. And I don't know. Whatever. I don't know how big he is. I don't know. I just know that this is a story, and people are acting like he's a big deal. And, he's hanging out with Megan Thee Stallion. So, he's bigger than I am. So there you go. So this guy, Tory Lanez, who I don't know, this guy, Tory Lanez, was sentenced to 10 years in prison yesterday after a real long legal drawn-out thing about an incident that occurred between him and Megan Thee Stallion in 2020. Apparently, so Tory Lanez gets pulled over by police after fleeing a party. There's some house party in LA. Tory Lanez flees the party, gets pulled over by police. When police pull him out of the car, they discover an unlicensed firearm and this woman, a not yet famous Megan Thee Stallion, this woman sitting in the passenger seat with bloody feet. These cops are like, well, what's that about? And she's like, I stepped in glass. That's what she said. She said at the scene, I stepped in glass. Tory Lanez is like, that's my cousin's gone, whatever it is that he said. And he gets taken away because he doesn't have a license for the gun. So he goes to prison for the gun charge. So then a couple of days later, Megan Thee Stallion hits her Instagram and she's like, Tory Lanez shot me twice in my feet. Okay, so now it's a new wrinkle in the story. She told the cops that she had stepped in glass. But she also explained that away as Tory Lanez is a crazy motherfucker, and he was sitting right next to me, and he had a gun handy, and I wasn't about to tell a cop standing there that, yeah, he just shot me in my feet. So I said I stepped in glass because I didn't want to die. Her exact words were, I lied because I didn't want to die, which I totally get. So apparently they were at this party, and Tory Lanez got into it with somebody, and he started waving the gun around and he shot it like he wasn't trying to shoot anybody, but as happened so many times with gunplay, he accidentally shot Megan Thee Stallion twice in her feet. Yeah, they put stallions down for the lesser than that, right? That's bad. That's not good. So now this is where the disconnect in this stupid ass story goes. Because apparently they weren't a couple. Because Megan Thee Stallion in her Instagram, she's like, we're not even a couple. We're not even. But they were in the car together after he shot her. So I don't get what happened there. I don't understand how. So he discharges the gun at the party. He's got to flee. He has shot her twice in the feet. She's with him now in the passenger seat. So I didn't understand that. So anyway, I guess it's for the jury to decide. And the jury decided that, yeah, he shot her in the feet twice. And he's going to jail for 10 years. So there you go. That's it. Thank you. I just did a really bad. That's, instead of like drunk history, it should be your dad explains hip hop news. There you go. Look at that. That's another. Ed, write it down. Ed there at Radio Misfits. It's another podcast idea. Your dad explains hip hop news. Come on. I'd listen to that. I mean, after I do it, because I would also be the guy that would do it. I would be the dad who explains hip hop news. Taco Bell is trending today. Taco Bell is trending because they have settled their long-standing fight with Taco John over the trademark rights to the term Taco Tuesday. Taco Bell could never capitalize on Taco Tuesday because there was this taco place, Taco John's, that owned the rights to it. And Taco John's wasn't going to let Taco Bell use Taco Tuesday. Well, apparently they've settled. Apparently this is over. And now Taco Bell will be celebrating their big whatever. I don't know. Their big what? They can now say Taco Tuesday. They're giving us free tacos. We're all getting free tacos. Trademark tiff over. Taco Tuesday ends. Taco Bell is giving away free tacos to celebrate. So here's what you're going to get. Taco Bell is ready to celebrate Taco John's decision last month to drop its Taco Tuesday trademark suit with free tacos, of course. The twist, you don't have to leave your home and you don't have to order. The big celebration comes. All right, so on September the 12th, Taco Bell's going to give away free tacos. Taco Bell and food delivery service DoorDash are going to put $5 million towards orders from any participating vendor selling Mexican food. Okay, so any place selling Mexican food. DoorDash Mexican Food Day, Taco Tuesday, big celebration. September the 12th. So celebrating September 12th. So remember, September 11th, maybe we don't go taco crazy. Maybe September 11th. I know that we don't remember. We know we're supposed to remember, never forget, never forget. And then we learned that it only takes we learned what, 2 months ago now? That it's 22. When we say never forget, that just means 22 years. You got to let 22 years go by because the PGA went and got in business with Saudi Arabia, even though we know a lot of stuff that we didn't know then about that. Anyway, so September 11th. So September 12th. So here's how you'll remember. You'll be really sad, hopefully. Well, the contemplative, mournful, respectfully mournful on September the 11th. You'll be that way. And the hope that you'll be able to go, yeah, but tomorrow I'm going to get tacos. See, that's how it works. And that's how you remember. September the 12th, free tacos. What else? Between now and then, Taco Bell's going to give away free seasoned beef, nacho cheese, Doritos, Locos Tacos. That name is terrible. Who okayed that name? That's what the product is called? Seasoned beef, nacho cheese, Doritos, Locos Tacos. That is awful brand. Taco Bell has always been so good with branding. That's terrible. All right, so you're going to get free that. Between now and September the 12th, Taco Bell is going to give away free seasoned beef, nacho cheese, Doritos, Locos Tacos on Tuesdays. That starts August 15th. Okay, so I guess it's not between now and then. Between now and then you say it starts next week. So it's not between now and then. This is just shitty writing. I can no longer go on with this story. Happy trademark win, Taco Bell. What else is trending today? Let's see here. Moving down, we're now moving into page 3 of my notes. Shakespeare has been banned in Florida high schools. Yeah, that's right. Because of dirty stuff. Because Shakespeare has now, for a couple hundred years, it's been pretty much. Oh my God. Romeo and Juliet went and got Shakespeare banned from Florida schools. Not all schools. Some schools are like, no, we're not banning Shakespeare. This is stupid. But there are stupid schools that are going, let's ban all the Shakespeare because of the underage kissing and stuff. That's happening in Florida. Again, we're going to move on from that because I don't give a shit about that conversation. Alabama boat brawl. We've got some new details. For instance, here. Should we watch the video again? We don't need to watch the video. We've seen the video. The Alabama boat brawl took place last weekend. The riverboat Harriet II was trying to unload its 300 plus passengers when a bunch of hillbillies in a boat were like, but we's parking here. And they're like, no, you can't park here. Here's a couple of new things that we've learned. Big fight broke out. You've seen the video? No? If you watch this show, we watched the video on all the shows. The Radio Misfits one at 9:00. We broke it down. You want to hear our full and complete breakdown of this story? You can go to pugscast.com, pugscast.com. That takes you directly to the YouTube page. Then just click on videos and go to last night's Radio Misfits show. So you'll be looking for 8 Radio Misfits. The entire show we break, well, not the entire show. I think we spend the first 20 minutes talking about nonsense, but we then spend the entire rest of the show watching the video and breaking it down. So if you want to hear the way me and James and E broke it down last night, you can go to pugscast.com, click on last night's episode of Radio Misfits. We had a lot of questions that I now have answers for. That's why I keep pushing it if you want to hear that again. For instance, the guy with the chair. That guy, apparently he didn't get arrested because there's a warrant out for his arrest, or did he get arrested, detained, and then bailed out on simple battery charge or whatever it was, and then went into the wind after they issued new warrants because that dude was trying to kill people. Well, we're talking about the guy that was using a chair and he just walked up to some old lady. And she looked old. She was dumpy and old. Walked up to some old lady and cracked her over the head with this folding chair. That dude is apparently in the wind. Here's another thing that we learned. The guy who got jumped, the guy who got started, who I have been, just sort of assuming was just a dock hand. He was dressed in his little sailor suit, and that's kind of how I reduced him. I was like, look at me, he's in his little sailor suit. Okay, that dude is the co-captain of that ship. That's a real job. That's a guy with a real job. And he wasn't already on the dock guiding the ship in. He was in the bridge of the ship. So here's how it started. The ship was pulling in, and that guy had to get on the megaphone, the public address system, and say, black pontoon boat, you must leave the area. We are attempting to pull in. They did this. This whole thing went on for an hour. So apparently that was greeted by the dudes in the pontoon boat with, fuck you, and obscenities and fingers and all that stuff. And then the people on the decks of the Harriet II, the riverboat, then they started screaming at him, let's go, move, you idiot. You can't be there. We're trying to move. We're trying to park. That's because that's where that boat operates out of. That's where it parks. So, at this point, there is no doubt who's in the wrong. There's a bunch of assholes causing a problem. And when they were told by the captain of the ship to get their asses out of there, they basically were like, fuck you. So how does the fight start? That guy who was on the megaphone was like, hey, you got to get out of there. He then goes down and takes a little speedboat that's attached to the riverboat because the riverboat hasn't docked yet. Takes a little speedboat piloted by this kid. And we see this kid in the early stages of the fight. He's kind of a heavy-set little redheaded kid who gets punched by one of the aggressors. The co-pilot of the Harriet, who was on the megaphone saying, get out of here, he is now jumping in the boat and he is going to the dock, and he's now on the dock. That's where we see the video. That's where the video picks up. The co-pilot, the co-captain of the boat is now on the dock, and he is physically trying to move the ropes from the boat. That's what he does. He touched the ropes. He threw the ropes. He untied the ropes. And that's where the guy jumped out and was like, hey, you can't touch my ropes. And that's where the fight started. Here is more of the latest news. The 3 white men in a pontoon boat charged in the Montgomery brawl. A black man with chair is now sought for questioning. Why is he sought for questioning? We have the video. He should be sought for arrest. He should be sought so that he can answer for picking up a chair and banging people over the head. But that's not the big story, right? We want to concentrate. This whole thing started because a bunch of drunk hillbillies just beat up a guy in a position of authority. That's all it was. It's just it's hooligan. This is classic hooliganism. I kept trying to say this last night. I was trying to have the conversation about, yes, it looks like a racial thing. If you just look at it, it's like, yeah, look, it's all a bunch of white people fighting. But we have no idea that this was started off by a racial incident, right? I think this could just be a bunch of drunk asshole hillbillies. Could be wrong. They might have said the N-word. They might have, but that hasn't been reported, and that's certainly not been anything that people have been talking about. Maybe you don't have to, because when you just look at it, you just see a bunch of white dudes and a bunch of black dudes throwing hands on a dock. But I don't know. I don't believe it's racial. I just think it's humans are assholes to each other. I think that there are dicks out there, and sometimes dicks see come on, how many security guards at a late night Waffle House have had to deal with what that co-captain of that boat had to deal with? That's what it was. And just because the security guard in the Waffle House is a black guy and the drunk hillbillies that start the fight are drunk white hillbillies, doesn't mean it was racial. Doesn't mean it was like, yeah, we beat him up because he's a black security guard. No, that's what we need to be careful of. If that is at the core of this, if that is what topped it off, then that's a problem. And yeah, okay, so now you got to look at those people in a different way. But we don't know that. We don't know that yet. So everybody, Adam Rayner probably hates it. I'm trying to play it both ways, but that's how you have to play it before you get the facts. So there you go. That's the update on the Alabama boat brawl that occurred over the weekend. A couple of quarterbacks are trending today. I wanted to spend a moment talking about a couple of these guys because I got some thoughts. First and foremost, Johnny Football is trending. Johnny Football. Now, Johnny Football, of course, is the nickname of great NFL bust Johnny Manziel. I don't consider Johnny Manziel a massive bust because he wasn't a top 5 pick. He wasn't a quarter. He wasn't like the number 1 quarterback taken off the board. He wasn't that, right? But he was, there was expectations, and he certainly didn't seem to try to achieve any of the expectations that people had for him. Anyway, Johnny Manziel is trending, or Johnny Football is trending, because there's a new Netflix special. It's in the Untold series. Netflix has a series called Untold, and basically it's Netflix ripoff of ESPN's 30 for 30. If you like the 30 for 30 documentaries, the Netflix Untold is the same thing, exact same thing. They're done very well. There's, as far as like the quality goes, they're the same. They're great stories done by. Anyway, so the newest Untold, which I guess was released yesterday, is Johnny Football. It's the story of Johnny Manziel, who many of you remember came out like a lightning bolt out of Texas A&M and won the Heisman Trophy and was just a bigger than life superstar. Johnny Football is a documentary about all that. And it's told from his perspective. They talk to him, they talk to his family, they talk to his critics, they talk to people who are enemies of his. I mean, it is quite good. It is quite good, and it is quite interesting. And it is not some fluff piece about Johnny Manziel's got to try and fix his image because, he's still a young man and he's got name value. So I bet we could get some money out of him. We could probably, if we just, fix his rep a little. It's not that. It's not that. I was worried about that. I'm like, oh, okay, Johnny Manziel, the reclamation project has begun. No, it's not that, because what we see in this documentary, Johnny Manziel is an incredibly flawed dude, probably an alcoholic, probably got a whole bunch of like seedy stuff going. He doesn't seem like a kid of very strong moral character. And then we see his father, and after watching it, I'm like, yeah, his dad seems like his dad doesn't know how to hug his kids. You know what I mean? It's like you see that kind of thing. But here's what it did. It offered me, somebody who thought I knew Johnny Manziel. Here's what I thought I knew about. Here's what I thought Johnny Manziel was. Stupid rich kid, because that was the whole thing. He came from oil money. Stupid rich kid, blessed with all this talent, doesn't even give a shit, ain't even going to try, just a loser, just another silver-spooned rich kid. That was pretty much my feelings on Johnny Manziel, while acknowledging that he was one of the most exciting college quarterbacks I'd ever seen. I watched the documentary last night during dinner, and then after the Radio Misfits show, I watched the rest of it. It's excellent, and that's not who Johnny Manziel is. Johnny Manziel is an incredibly flawed and incredibly complicated dude. He's not a rich kid. He's not a rich kid. That whole story about him being a rich kid, that was made up because he was doing illegal things. He was Johnny Manziel, while he was in college, was wearing Rolexes and driving expensive cars. And so, of course, people started wondering why. Now, why? What is the real answer? The real answer is because he had worked up some shady deal with an autograph and collector where Johnny Manziel once a month would fly to he would fly to Florida, get a hotel room in the Fontainebleau, and they'd fill it up with footballs and helmets and jerseys and pictures and all that. And Johnny would just sign. He could make 50 grand in a weekend when he was in college. So yeah, Johnny Manziel was flush, and he did this every couple of months. He was making hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash. They were all stuffed into his dorm room mattress. So yeah, he's a dumb kid, and he's going to start wearing Rolexes, and he's going to start driving expensive cars. And now as his profile raises, because Heisman's coming up, now everybody's really looking close. How you doing this, Johnny? So they created a story, a fake story about how the Manziel family came from oil money, which is actually kind of true like 100 years ago. But Johnny Manziel did not grow up as a rich kid the way we were all led to believe. That story was made up so that the NCAA wouldn't go, why is he going to Florida? You know what I mean? So anyway, it was very interesting. So it's good. So if you're interested at all in sports history, this is a fascinating story about the rise and fall of Johnny Manziel. And it seems to tell it pretty fairly, pretty squarely. And I don't know that I like, so here's what I always ask myself about the subjects of these documentaries when I see them. I always ask myself, do I like this person? Like at the end of it, do I like this? I mean, sure, interesting person, respect for this person, all those things can come from watching a documentary. But do I like this person? Like, is this somebody that I want to sit, as I always say, is this somebody I want to sit in the back seat of a car with on a long ride? I don't think I like Johnny Manziel. I don't think I like him. I think he's an honest guy. I think he's a vulnerable guy, and I think he was quite refreshingly open about all of his own missteps and poor choices. And those are all great things. Those are all great characters. So he's not all bad, but I don't think I'd like him. He seems like a serious D-bag. He really does. He seems like a douche. Like, no, thank you. All right. So that's Johnny Manziel. That's why he's trending. The other quarterback that's trending today that I wanted to mention here, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is trending. And I have also some complicated feelings about Aaron Rodgers, as you can imagine. Aaron Rodgers is trending because the new season of Hard Knocks debuted last night. Didn't see it yet. I typically, I'll maybe watch it tonight. Hard Knocks is not one of those shows that you can just wait for everything to. I can't wait for 4 episodes of Hard Knocks because it's time sensitive. Like shit that appears on Hard Knocks last night is going to be making NFL news today, as is the reason that Aaron Rodgers is being talked about right now. Because he's trending. Because apparently, and I've seen some of these clips, and I've been having this issue with Aaron Rodgers now for the last couple of months. Aaron Rodgers is quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. I'm a Chicago Bear fan. I freaking hate him. He's a monster. Nobody's broken my heart more and more consistently than Aaron Rodgers. I can tell you that I've been watching games where the Bears are up by multiple touchdowns, and it's the third quarter, and I just go, well, fuck this. This is going to be the worst Sunday evening of my life because they're going to blow it because Aaron Rodgers is going to happen. And I was conditioned for this because as a Bears fan before Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre was going to happen. So, look, not a lot of love for Aaron Rodgers, the Packer. Also feel that Aaron Rodgers is he's a little bit into himself. He's a little bit, I don't like that he's so flaky and hippy dippy and, all of these progressive ideas about medicine and energy. And, he's just weird. And then remember he was with that tree witch. He was actually in a relationship with a woman who was a tree witch. I think he's still with her. And then he was with that. I don't know. Any just stuff about him that bothers me. So that's me as a Bears fan. But over the last couple of months, there's been a little bit more context about who Aaron Rodgers is, especially when he was, is he going to re-sign with Green Bay? A lot of think pieces about the guy. He put himself out there and did a number of interviews. He's very good. He's very good on the Pat McAfee show. That's where I watched a lot of Aaron Rodgers' line. And guess what? He's not a Packer anymore. And after seeing all of these clips from last night's Hard Knocks, and this is why Aaron Rodgers is trending, he seems like an awesome guy, man. Have you seen any of these clips that are going around with Aaron Rodgers where he's talking with Myles Garrett? Is it Myles Garrett? No, not Myles Garrett. Well, he's talking with Sauce Gardner, and he's talking. Who's the wide receiver? The rookie wide receiver. He was the AFC Rookie of the Year, or AFC Offensive Rookie of the Year. Anyway, I can't remember. These clips are going around showing how Aaron Rodgers is being accepted by his new teammates and how he's treating them. And I don't know. I mean, I think I like Aaron Rodgers. I don't. Here's the deal, right? Remember, I always ask myself, do I think I could be friends with Johnny Manziel? No, I don't think I could. He seems like a douche. I think I could be friends with Aaron Rodgers. This person that he's becoming, I think I could be friends with that guy. I think put aside all of the, global warming stuff that he's into and the alternative medicines, and he doesn't trust science medicine. He trusts toad stools and tree bark and shit like that. That's all fine and dandy. And he's gonna dig a hole in the ground, and he's gonna lay in the ground for like 3 days to replicate near death. He does weird stuff. He's gonna take a bunch of psilocybin, and he's gonna go in a sweat lodge for a year and a half. He's Aaron Rodgers. He does weird stuff, but like when you have a conversation with him, you hear him in a conversation, it's like, okay, he is a narcissist, and he is definitely, he's aware of who he is, which is something that I think is off-putting to a lot of people, because many of us don't present that way. We don't present as somebody who knows exactly who we are. And the ones that do often come off as an asshole, which is why without context, you think a guy like Aaron Rodgers is an asshole. And I don't think he is. I think he's a complicated guy, but I think unlike Johnny Manziel, I think I could sit in the back seat of a long car ride with Aaron Rodgers, and I think we would have laughs. I think we would enjoy it. Not Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel wouldn't get anything. Like, I'd make a joke, and Johnny Manziel would be like, is that a joke, dude? That I don't want. Aaron Rodgers looks like he's up for a little backseat improv. Aaron Rodgers might be down to have a little bit of goof time. All right, so there you have it. Johnny Manziel and Aaron Rodgers both are trending. Let's see, what else do we have here? Peruvian aliens. Now, here's a story that I'm going to ask you folks. I'm going to ask you folks, just have an open mind, okay? Because, sure, it comes from the Daily Mirror, which is, a serious bullshit publication out of England. But it could happen. It could be real. Just keep an open mind. Because if you keep an open mind, this could be a fun story for us all to experience together. Apparently, there is a village in Peru. And I know this because the headline says, terrified Peruvian villagers. Terrified. I mean, this is the opening premise to an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie from 1988. A terrified Peruvian village. Terrified Peruvian villagers claim to be under relentless attack by 7-foot-tall aliens known as face peelers, prompting night patrols and pleas for military assistance. Now, this is why it's interesting, okay? Because obviously, I'm not just going to get stupid, my grandma's an alien story from the National Enquirer. But why am I talking about this? Because when you look deeper into this story, you see that there are legitimate people, again, signing off on this. Like, legitimate people. Like, this isn't just a bunch of people with bones in their noses, like these people who are, untouched by the modern world villagers. No, they're called villagers, and they're in Peru, but they have cars. They have driver's licenses, pay taxes and stuff like that. They're like, they're a little bit behind. I don't know if they have the cool ass selection of cable options that we have here in the United States, but you know what I mean? I mean, they're not our ancient people. And there's like a dude, there's like this guy who's like a well-known, like, again, what do I know about well-known in Peru? He could be a clown show, but he's a dude that people respect. And he's like, yeah, I've been there. These people, they've seen something, and we need the military. So now the Peruvian military is actually sent. All I'm saying is this. It costs money to send and deploy military troops. Something is going on here. Something, now, again, maybe it's not a 7-foot alien. Something weird is going on here because enough normal people have gone, yeah, something's going on here. We need to look into it, and I think we ought to bring some big guns. A group of Peruvian villagers are living in fear as believe they are under attack by a mysterious 7-foot-tall aliens that they have named Los Pelacaras, which translates to the face peelers. Oh, come on. You tell me this isn't an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? Nah. Face Peelers. Face Peelers is not an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. This got Rutger Hauer written all over it, right? Rutger Hauer, the face peel. This ain't to the level, but still, okay. In a remote district of Alto Nene, located northeast of Lima, members of the Iquitu tribe. Well, now this story is describing them as more tribal. Hailing from the San Antonio native community, have recounted chilling encounters with these extraterrestrial beings. All right, forget everything I said. No, dude, I'm looking at a picture of this guy. There's a dude's wearing a San Antonio Spurs jersey. Okay, this villager, this ancient villager, he's wearing Jordans and a San Antonio Spurs jersey. And he's got a car. Okay, so he's not, so they're not like, they're not tribal people. When, sometimes satellites will fly over the Amazon and it'll pick up people in grass skirts going, oonga, oonga, that whole thing. That's not this. Dude's wearing a Spurs jersey. Dude is wearing a Tony Parker jersey. How remote can he be? Villagers claim that these enigmatic figures, often shrouded in dark-colored hoods. All right, so right there, I call bullshit. Hoods. Oh, aliens. Aliens brought hoodies in case they get cold down here. Wait, so what you're saying is, clothing? Do they have? I always have questions for people who claim to see aliens. Like they have clothing, because the answers to these questions kind of tell us a little bit more about the alien species themselves. Like, for instance, if an alien comes down here and a dude's like, yeah, he's wearing a shirt and a pants. Like, if he describes that, I'm like, so you're saying the aliens have like shame about their body? Isn't that a human Christian thing? Like, the reason we wear clothes is because it's shameful to walk around naked. So you're saying that aliens I don't know. I just have questions. These aliens wear hoodies. According to committee leader Javier Rategue Davila, the girl narrowly escaped an encounter. A girl narrowly escaped an encounter, but not without injury. As a result of a struggle with an alien, they cut part of her neck. A little girl. They couldn't just kill a little girl at will. She got away. Fearing for their safety, the villagers have taken matters into their own hands. Night patrols have been organized by the community to protect women, children, and the vulnerable. They've appealed to the authorities for military intervention to address the perceived ongoing threat. Local media reports that many villagers are unable to sleep due to the heightened state of fear and ever-present attacks. Community leader Javier Rega claims to have come face-to-face with one of the beings. He says their shoes are round-shaped. See, now this I get. They're wearing shoes. They got shoes. Shoes, okay. Maybe spacesuits. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. They're wearing shoes. Like what? Because sometimes when you see depictions of aliens, they're just like animals, right? Like scales and like lizard, like that. And like those dudes don't need to wear pants, but these ones do. These ones are more humanoid. It says here. Here, I'm gonna show you a picture of a dude who says he got his face bit off by a 7-foot alien. Here you go. We'll show you this because I think it's important. I think it's important that we cover the big stories, and this is obviously one of the big stories. Can you tell we're running out of steam? We are. The show's almost over. That's okay. I'm running out of steam. You're running out of steam. Ain't nobody got time for my nonsense. So here, I'm going to show you a guy who says he got his face like lasered off. And you didn't say lasered. I'm being silly. All right, here. Yeah, we'll start with this. All right. So there's some Peruvian military dudes who are there on the scene to take care of the 7-foot-tall alien situation. All right, so there you go. You got that. I don't know what that is. There's my man in the. Let's see here. All right, these are people running from the town, apparently. I shouldn't laugh. All right, here. This guy, he says he got his face ripped open by an alien. That's why he's got the thing. And he's being walked away. What is he being walked away from the incident? Like, is the alien still around? How recent did this happen? Why is he being walked away like this? He's obviously already bandaged. This occurred at I don't get it. Anyway. All right, there you have it. That's the story of the Peruvian 7-foot-tall hoodie-clad monsters. Aliens, they're being called down there in Peru. Okay, so there's one more topic here, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it because it's kind of heavy, and there's no reason that it should have been placed last. So we will not be doing that topic. So we will be ending the show. Actually, before we do that, we like to take a quick look at all the things that have been trending while we've been doing this here show. Let's see if there's anything new happening. Maui is still trending at number 1, at least on the Twitter. Yeah, it's still Twitter. Maui's trending number 1. National Book Lovers Day. Is that a thing? Okay, cool. Henry Ruggs is trending. Why is Henry Ruggs trending? He gets sentenced today. Henry Ruggs was the first-round draft pick of the Los Angeles Raiders, who killed that nice young girl because he got drunk and was partying and hit an off-ramp at like 120 miles an hour and then didn't know there was a red light and slammed and killed a young girl because he's Henry Ruggs, a 20-year-old millionaire who can party. Why is Henry Ruggs trending? All right, let's see. Let's click on it. Let's find out why Henry Ruggs is trending. Is he being sentenced? Henry Ruggs killed someone getting less time than Tory Lanez. Are they comparing it to the Tory Lanez story? Former Raiders receiver Henry Ruggs III was sentenced Wednesday to 3 to 10 years in prison for a November 2021 drunken driving crash that killed a Las Vegas woman and her dog. Okay. So how old is Henry Ruggs? Because 3 years, could he miss 4 years? He could come back and play in the NFL. I mean, I don't know if they'd let him. You know what I mean? That'd be a problem. Can't wait to see those picket lines in front of NFL games in 5 seasons. Former Las Vegas Raiders receiver Henry Ruggs III was sentenced Wednesday to 3 to 10 years in prison for a November 2021 drunken driving crash that killed a Las Vegas woman and her dog. Ruggs could be eligible for parole after 3 years. Clark County District Court Judge Jennifer Schwartz told Ruggs on Wednesday that it was one of the more tragic cases that she has seen. Ruggs, 24. All right, 24. So let's go 4 years, 28. Could he be a 28-year-old rookie? You're damn right he could. You're damn right. Well, he's not even a rookie. He's second year. He could. Ooh, boy. Do they let him back in? Ooh, well, I guess that all depends on how this young man carries himself over the next 3 years. Because I got to believe that if he does everything, if he's really good, like if he does everything, and he's going to have a team around him. There's people, because there's money at stake here. There's going to be people around him. They're going to advise him. He's going to check all the right boxes. He'll probably get paroled in 3 years. So he'll be out in 3 years. So he's 24. That's 24, 25, 26. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I actually did count like that. So let's say 28. Let's say 28 years old. Let's say 4 years. 28 years old, he steps back on an NFL field. Fresh legs, a little older, a little wiser. Could it happen? Yeah. I mean, I bet he'd certainly get invited to camp. 28-year-old Henry Ruggs. I mean, this guy coming out of college was a real thing. Incredible speed. Is he going to work on that speed in prison? We'll see. I mean, it's happened before, right? Baseball, famously, Ron LaFleur. Michael Vick in football. Michael Vick was welcomed back. He was never the same, but Michael Vick was welcomed back. I don't know. I honestly did not think that Henry Ruggs would ever play football again. But after learning that today, just within the last few hours, he was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison. I think he might play again. We'll see. We'll see what kind of contrition tour he puts forth over the next few days. All right, that's why Henry Ruggs is now trending. What else do we have? Anything else? Feinstein is trending. Jared Kushner. I don't know what Jared Kushner is trending, but I have no interest in learning any more about that guy. Okay. Yeah, no, just a whole bunch of that's what Twitter is good for these days. Nothing but divisive political topics. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's High Noon show. I do appreciate y'all hanging out with me. We do this Monday through Friday. Excuse me, noon till whenever. I would like to draw your attention once. Oh my God, I just got a. Oh my God. Nope, not good. Sorry. I thought I just got a tip. It wasn't a tip. No tips today. That's unfortunate. You can tip the show anytime you like all throughout the months. It is your tips and their cumulative value that keep these shows going. Thank you to everybody who helped out in July. Come on, let's help out with August if you can. Drop a little something, whether it's Venmo or Cash App. I would certainly be appreciative of it. We'll see you tomorrow. We do the show Monday through Friday, hot topics, current events, all of that stuff. And I'll see you in a couple hours because we come back Tuesday through Thursday now. I know that doesn't have the ring to it. Tuesday through Thursdays at 9 o'clock. The three of us, me, James Parker, and E, we get together and we do the Radio Misfits show. So we'll be doing that tonight at 9 o'clock. So come one, come all, join us. 9 o'clock sharp, all time Central, because Central is the only time that matters. Okay, let's see here. This is the time yesterday when I jumped into the chat room and I got really angry because people were just being jerkos. And not that, people, look, we're all jerkos. I've been a jerko. I've been a jerko today. Oh my God. You guys want to hear a funny story? All right. Story time. Sure, we'll do it. So, I got issues with the dog. The dog's a pain in the ass. CeeLo. Where's CeeLo? CeeLo, where you at, girl? Where's she at? Why would you be choosing? I have no idea where she is. She's got to be in the other room. Okay. So CeeLo the dog, as you may or may not know, we do this show here from what we love to call the One Percenter Comfort Nest Lounge high atop the One Percenter compound in beautiful Highland Park, Texas. Now, the big house that is on this property, I am in a building that is separate from the main house. I'm in a building in the back. And it is the Comfort Nest Studios. It is a guest house. The big house, the main house, is empty now. The family that lived there has moved on to greener pastures, leaving this big, beautiful home just a few scant yards away from where I sit right now. I am kind of in charge of the property as far as making sure that it looks good, making sure that it's cleaned over there. So in the course of that, I have begun just insanely cleaning the big house. The big house looks great as far as the inside goes. It is clean. I mean, we're talking baseboards. We're talking dusting. I cleaned walls. I washed walls. Anyway, because we put so much effort into making that place clean after the move out, I have broken the house into wings. I have cordoned off certain areas that the dog is no longer allowed to visit in the big house. Now, it's caused a problem because the dog has a doggy door. She can go in and out of the big house anytime she wants. But now she doesn't have access to the big giant viewing windows where she gets to bark at the mailman and the FedEx drivers and the Amazon guys. She doesn't have access to that anymore because I have placed barricades stopping her from being able to have the free run of the house. Why? Because she's a dirty dog. And I don't need to be mopping every day because she will leave paw prints. So today I let her out. Pool person comes and goes. So she's free to run the yard. So I let her out today. And I'm doing the show. I'm putting the show together. I'm reading articles, doing my thing in the morning. And I realized, I'm like, where's the dog? And that's always a bad sign because this dog, as you know, is an escape artist. This dog figures out ways to dig holes and get out of the yard. And she's running the streets. Big stupid tongue hanging out of her mouth. She's an idiot. She's an absolute idiot. She doesn't look both ways. She just darts in the trap. She's an idiot. So that's my fear. So I'm laying up here. Putting together the show, and I hear I don't hear her, so I go out on the balcony, go out on my little balcony thing, and I go, "Come on," which typically means if she's somewhere and she hears that, she comes. So I'm thinking she's in the house, and it takes a couple of minutes because sound travels slowly, but usually after about 20 seconds after I do that, she comes running. She comes darting out of the doggy door, and she comes running over to me. And everything's great. I'm like, okay, there she was. She didn't do that this time. This morning I'm out there. Come on. Come here, baby. Come on, girl. Let's go. Nothing. And I'm like, oh, shit. Now, the city of Highland Park hasn't called yet. That's typically the first thing. They call first. They know her. Oh, they know her. They call the phone. They're like, your dog, CeeLo's out again. You want to come get her? And like that whole thing. They didn't call. So I'm like, okay, so she's not out. I immediately look around the perimeter. My first thought is she got out of the fence. So I immediately scan the perimeter of the fence. No, she didn't get out. There's no way. Nothing is different. There's no way she get. So you know what she did? Dumbass. So remember I told you how I cleaned the whole house, but I made half the house inaccessible to her. Well, she figured out a way to, remember I told you, the other thing about her is she can open doors. She like gets on her back legs and she takes her paws and she goes on doorknobs. And then while leaning on the door, she can pop doors open. This dog, I'm serious, man. This dog is nuts. So she figured out how to do that. And she popped the door open, except on its way back, it got jarred in a weird way. So she can pop the door open, but she can't if the door is opening into a room, she's got no problem with that. But she can't pull it. If you gotta pull the door, you gotta pull the door. So she got trapped in the part of the house where she wasn't allowed to be. And she was missing for like 2 hours. I'm like, I have no idea where this dog is. And so finally I go, okay. And I went to the door that she jarred open because there's 3 doors that I could choose from. I just happened to pick the one that she jarred open and I saw that it was jammed a little and I go, oh. And then I popped the door open and she is just laying there on the floor looking up at me. Like, you got trapped. I bet you were scared. She had no water. She had no food. She broke a rule. She got herself free into an area and then she couldn't get back. She got stuck. It's like when you climb, were you ever a kid and you climb up a tree and you climb as high and high as you can, but then you can't climb down. You're like, that was what she experienced. So I had a good laugh at her expense today. She's an idiot. All right, that's going to do it. We're done, right? Let's end this show.
I have got my poetry. I have got my songs.
Poetry and songs.
To see me through the...
So you guys, I guess that was just one person who chimed in. I asked, should I watch the X-Files? I've never seen the X-Files. Should I watch them? Should I binge? I'm looking for a show to binge. I'm not necessarily, here's the deal. I love you guys. I'm not asking for you to suggest shows that I should binge. I am like a TV show guy. I know all the TV shows. I am. It's like I love keeping even shows that I don't watch. I'm familiar with just because I pay attention to that stuff. So I'm not looking for like you to suggest. You know what? You should binge watch. You know, and I don't care. I'm like, I already know. What do you should binge watch? And I don't know. People always say stuff that I don't like. Like, I don't want to. You should binge watch Madam Secretary. I don't want to watch Madam Secretary. You should binge watch Grey's Anatomy. I don't watch Grey's Anatomy. That's not like the kind of thing I want to watch. So anyway, I was thinking maybe I'd binge watch the X-Files because I've never seen it before. And, I'm a big Alien guy. And again, I didn't watch the X-Files back in the day because I just thought they were making fun of alien guys like me. So I didn't want to watch it. But now I understand. No, that shit was real. Chris Carter's a real dude. Chris Carter's actually, he's really into that stuff. I have respect for him. So I want to watch, I'm thinking I should watch the X-Files. But I don't know. I asked you guys. I was like, should I watch it? One guy goes, no, I don't watch it. So as of right now, I'm not watching it.
Lonely nights help me to be strong. I am like the dancing bear, trained to be the best.
All right, here we go. Now I got people telling me I should watch it. That's all I need. I just need a little bit of reinforcement. Just a little bit of, you should watch it. Instead of the one guy who went, no. Because one guy said no, and that's fine. And that was all I had to go on. Now I got a whole bunch of people saying I should. You can tell, too, I'm sort of projecting that I want to watch it. So you guys are now giving me what I want to hear. And isn't that our relationship? I mean, not necessarily transactional, but, beautiful nonetheless. I am on a never-ending quest. All right, what do I got to do today? I got 3 phone calls. I had three. I shouldn't say it like that because it's 3 people I want to talk to, but it's the 3 business calls. Ugh.
Things are going good. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. It has been a journey, a multi-answer.
At 5 o'clock, however, I get to work on a project that I'm so excited to be a part of. I'm so excited. More on this later.
Test. I am on a never-ending quest.
All right, guys, I got to go. Love you. See you tonight at 9.
There's another day. The best is yet to come. I have found it.
Hold on, wait. I got to come back in here. I'm seeing something that is a deal sealer. I don't know that I know this. Adam says, Adam, where is it? There, boop, there it is. Is it? I said you should. Paco loved it. Adam, if you're talking about the X-Files, then that seals it for me. But Paco was my alien little brother. Paco used to go to all of the alien conventions. I mean, he's been to Roswell. He's been all over the place. So that was one of the things that we used to love to like riff on and talk about was the alien stuff. So if he watched the X-Files, and I don't remember ever talking to him about the X-Files. It was probably a show that it probably aired before we knew each other. So there was probably, anyway, if he liked it, I was not aware that he liked the X-Files. So I will now watch it. Okay, bye everybody. See ya.
I have got an old guitar, that is all I need. I don't need no 401, I don't have the greed. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day, the best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now, things are going good. I always had to be on guard, that is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.